Four friends, Jake, Emma, Leah, and Theo, had been hiking since morning on a remote mountain trail in America. As evening approached, they started feeling confused about the path they were on. That's when Jake spotted a signboard, and immediately, he realized they had taken the wrong trail, because the name on the board belonged to a different valley, one that wasn't even a part of their hiking route. It was getting dark, and turning back wasn't safe anymore. Jake remembered that some locals had once mentioned a visitor center near a board like this. He quickly told the others to follow him, and after a short walk, they spotted the visitor center. They decided they would stay there overnight and head back in the morning in daylight, when it would be safer. As they approached the building, thick black clouds gathered overhead and it started raining. They rushed inside. The moment they entered, the rain outside grew heavier. Thunder rumbled loudly across the sky and lightning flashed. They locked the door from the inside and dropped their backpacks and other gear near it. Jake gathered some old papers and broken furniture scattered around and used them to light a fire in the fireplace. They all sat down, waiting for the night to pass. By that time, it was about 6:45 p.m. Emma and Leah couldn't shake off an uneasy feeling inside the visitor center. Trying to lighten the mood, Jake laughed and told them about a local man he had spoken to. The man had warned him that this visitor center was considered haunted. He said that anyone who stayed here never made it out. In fact, just a few months ago, a girl named Melanie had come to this valley and was never seen again. Jake was still laughing off the superstition when suddenly, all the windows and doors in the building started flying open. The bulbs inside the center shattered with loud pops. The fire in the fireplace went out on its own, and outside, it had started snowing heavily. The temperature dropped sharply. They quickly shut the doors again, lit the fireplace, and scrambled to light as many candles as they could to brighten the room. But that's when Theo realized Emma was missing. They began searching for her both inside and outside the building, but there was no sign of her anywhere. Theo was standing in the main hall when he heard footsteps, someone running outside. Thinking it might be Emma, he chased after the sound. In the snow, Theo saw a figure. He called out Emma's name and ran closer. But as he got a better look, his blood ran cold. The figure looked exactly like Theo himself. The same face, except under its eyes were deep, hollow pits, and its skin was peeling off like it had been flayed alive. Theo started trembling in fear. Meanwhile, Jake, still inside the visitor center, was searching for Emma down one of the hallways. In the light of the fireplace, he caught sight of his own hands and screamed. They were covered in deep bite marks, like some wild animal had attacked him. Hearing his scream, Leah and Theo rushed back to the main hall. But before Jake or Theo could explain what happened, they looked at Leah and froze in horror. It looked like something was moving underneath the skin of Leah's cheek, like a worm or a bomb crawling under her flesh. Leah suddenly cried out in pain. As they rushed toward her, the thing under her skin spread rapidly. Her face turned completely black. Terrified, they all ran toward the door. But as soon as they yanked it open, Emma's dead body collapsed on top of them, and standing right behind her was a man wearing a horrifying mask. Before they could react, the masked figure pulled an axe from behind his back and brutally killed all three of them. But then, their eyes snapped open again. They weren't in a hospital. They were right back inside the visitor center. Emma was alive and sitting with them near the fireplace. They all stared at each other, confused and terrified. They looked at the clock. It was 6:45 p.m., the exact same time when everything had started. Without wasting a second, they bolted out of the building. After running some distance, they thought they had finally escaped. But then, the trees in the forest started shaking violently, and in front of them appeared a giant creature. Before they could even process what was happening, the monster lunged at them and started devouring them alive. Their screams echoed through the cold night. And then, once again, they woke up inside the visitor center. The clock still showed 6:45 p.m. That's when they finally realized they were trapped in a time loop. Desperate to escape, they started searching the building for clues. That's when they discovered a room filled with photos of missing people, and among those photos were their own faces, with a date written on them, 8 days later. On the wall of the room, scrawled in large letters, were the words, "If you want to live, you have to survive until dawn." Just then, someone struck them from behind with a baseball bat. When they regained consciousness, they were back in the main hall, the clock still stuck at 6:45 p.m. And before they could even react, they were killed again, in new and horrifying ways each time. No matter what they did, they couldn't survive until morning. They kept trying to escape that cursed valley, but they never made it. 8 days later, the news broke. 4 people, Jake, Theo, Emma, had gone missing. They were never seen again.